We started to realise early on into lockdown that there was a need for PPE in the local community, and so we looked to see what we could do as a university.
I'm working for, 7 years or so on a fascinating publication called The Ladies Magazine, a hugely popular monthly magazine for women. I would certainly argue the first recognisably modern women's magazine.
I believe that in the case of Peru, but everywhere as well, it is very important to know what has happened in the past so that you have a real assessment of the situation.
What we're hoping to do with this research is really change the way that athletes' respiratory health is managed, so we can start to use our research to help inform the next wave of improvements in respiratory care, not just in the UK but around the world.
These statistical ecologists have spent years passionately developing advanced mathematical models that are now being used in the field to map and manage butterfly populations across the world.
Everything that we do in the conservation department and all of the research that we do is to make sure that that collection remains stable for as long as possible so that people can come to the museum and immerse themselves in Tudor life.
On the top of each of these panels you might have noticed a small little Tudor roses. And they are actually carved to allow fresh air to be injected through the coving of that gallery.
We got special access to a rare archive which will help us expand our knowledge and inform people here of what their ancestors went through.
Sigue siendo muy complicado hablar del conflicto religioso en Zacatecas, tanto por el Estado como por la Iglesia. Creo que a casi 100 años del inicio.
นำโดยศาสตราจารย์ Colin Robinson และ Dr. Alison Walters จากมหาวิทยาลัย Kent.
The idea behind this project is that we're going to produce recombinant proteins that are used as animal vaccines.
Welcome to the University of Kent's 2021 Research and Innovation Prize Giving. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Shane Weller, and I'm the university's Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Research and Innovation. And it's one of the great pleasures of my role to have the opportunity to introduce our Research and Innovation Prize winners. These annual awards are designed to recognise and to celebrate the achievements of our academic and professional services staff across the university. The past year, as you'll all know, has been like any other in the challenges that our staff have experienced. And yet, they have still managed to achieve so much. This year, more than any other, it is important, I think, for us to celebrate their achievements. Given just how challenging things have been, it really is remarkable that this year we received more nominations for research and innovation prizes than in any previous year in the competition's history. And the quality of the research undertaken by the nominated staff was also particularly high. And that made the job of choosing the winners harder than ever. So I would like to take this opportunity to say a very big thank you to those staff who nominated colleagues for a prize, and also those staff who sat on the prize-giving panel to assess the nominations. The engagement of staff shows just how collaborative and supportive of each other our staff are. So I will now begin by introducing both the winners and the honourable mentions in each of the prize categories. The first category is the Starting Research Prize. This prize is open to research staff who are less than 7 years from PhD completion and with a track record for research that shows great promise. Permanent academic staff, fellows and researchers were able to apply, be nominated for this prize. So there are 3 honourable mentions for the Starting Research Prize, and those honourable mentions are Ed Curtin-Darling and Flora Rentz, who both work in the Division for the Study of Law, Society and Social Justice, and Emma Veal, who works in the Division of Natural Sciences. This year's prize is shared by 2 winners. The first is Rasa Mikolait, who is a research associate in the Centre for Health Services Studies in the Division for the Study of Law, Society and Social Justice. Rusa's principal research interests are in dementia care and policy, and she also works on microcultures in long-term care, mental health in later life, as well as sexuality and gender diversity in later life. The second winner of this starting prize is Jim Everett, and Jim comes from the School of Psychology in the Division of Human and Social Sciences. Jim is a researcher in moral psychology and the intersection of psychology and philosophy. He is internationally recognized as an expert on utilitarian moral psychology, and he also works on person perception and moral character. So very many congratulations to Rusa and Jim.
I guess in the last year I've had some successes with grant applications, both as principal investigator and co-applicant. And also last year has been the time when a lot of my existing projects reached the point when we could report on findings and results, which boosted my publication record. So I guess those are the most likely things that have contributed to me being nominated. But perhaps I could answer your question differently, because the nominations are individual, but in my experience, research, especially in research centers, is not individual at all. So the reason I've been nominated is in no small part because I work in an excellent team with really collegial and supportive colleagues. It's also because I've worked with senior academics and researchers that have given me opportunities to lead on research, to apply for grants, to write for publication as the first author. And without that support, without those opportunities, quite often, or especially from senior women in academia, that nomination absolutely would not have been possible. So there's many things that I really enjoy about being a researcher. But I guess the main thing I'd say is conversations, especially conversations with service users or patients, either as part of data collection work, such as interviews, or as part of public engagement work. I've felt so privileged to capture voices of seldom heard from groups in particular. So, for example, I'm currently conducting a project with colleagues in Brazil that involves talking to people living with dementia on what good death with dementia looks like. And before starting this project, I've been really surprised that these conversations haven't been had. There's been quite a bit of reticence of talking to people living with dementia or about death. So having a chance to meet people living with dementia, to hear from them how important it's been to have their say. I think in one of the team meetings, I've described it as a bone-deep research joy, and it's really been that. So yes, conversations, I guess. So there's a couple of new projects that have either just started or are starting soon, and it's tricky to pick. But I guess one I could mention is that I've been really lucky recently to have received the School of Social Care Research Career Development Award, which will allow me to do some priority setting work with people living with dementia. So in health and social care research, we increasingly and rightly involve members of the public, patients, service users in research. But it often happens a little bit too late, after decisions on what research should focus on have already been made. So this will be a chance to kind of give people living with dementia who use social services or receive social care support a chance to have a say on what research priorities are. So I'm really excited to start that work in January next year.
The second category is the Consolidator Research Prize. This prize is for research staff who are 7 to 12 years from PhD completion and with a track record showing outstanding research talent. In this category, there were 2 honourable mentions, and they are for Marina Escura from the Division of Natural Sciences and Joy Zhang from the Division for the Study of Law, Society and Social Justice. This year's winner is Jennifer Hiscock from the School of Physical Sciences in the Division of Natural Sciences. Jen is one of the UK's leading research scientists in supramolecular biology, and she is recognised for her work across a broad range of biological and chemical research areas. Jen herself considers her three greatest contributions to science to date to be her invention in 2016 of supramolecular self-associating amphiphiles, or SSAs, which is a novel class of compounds, the founding of the International Women in Supramolecular Chemistry Network, and the successful management and delivery of 4 UK governmental defence research projects. So very many congratulations to Jen.
Since starting my research at the University of Kent, I have invented a new class of molecules. They're called supramolecular self-associating amphiphiles. And this class of compound have been shown to date to act as effective electrolytes in novel battery technologies, to act as antimicrobial agents, anti-cancer agents, environmental cleanup materials, potential drug delivery vehicles, therapeutic enhancement agents, and have received funding support in excess of £1.2 million in the last 12 months. In addition, I founded a Women in Supramolecular Chemistry network in November 2019. This now has over 1,200 international members and is supported by societies such as the Royal Society of Chemistry, for example. We've recently published our first set of research in collaboration with social sciences here at the University of Kent, in particular Jennifer Lee, and that first article was published in Angevanta in 2021 and received over 100,000 views on Twitter in the first week, and also generated 5 news reports. In addition, I have managed to deliver 4 governmental defence research projects concerning the development of chemical weapons defence technologies, and helped bring a new mobile phone app to support academic collaboration to fruition, as well as supporting the local Royal Society of Chemistry virtual and in-person macrocyclic and supramolecular chemistry interest groups. The most rewarding part of my research up to now is working with people. It's the people that get me up in the morning. It's the people that make me want to write the papers. It's building those new collaborations, building those new networks, finding the next challenge, and managing to succeed with people. Not only just my students, but also my collaborators and all my mentors that have supported me to date. So my next major research and innovation project is to look to bring my supramolecular self-associating amphiphilic technology forwards for commercialization within the clinic. So I'm currently working with a variety of industrial partners and international collaborators from the US, Europe, and also in South Africa, in order to access multi-million-pound grant funds to see this innovation through clinical trials and hopefully into the clinic. This is supported also by collaborative efforts with the local Canterbury hospitals.
The third category is the Advanced Research Prize. This prize is for research staff who are more than 12 years from PhD completion and who are established leaders in their field, demonstrating significant achievement over the past 10 years. In this category, there is one honourable mention, and that's for Anastasios Saousis in the Division of Natural Sciences. This year's winner of the Advanced Research Prize is Sophia Labadi from the Department of Classical and Archaeological Studies in the Division of Arts and Humanities. Sophia is an award-winning professor of heritage at Kent. She regularly acts as a consultant on heritage projects and policymaking for international organizations, including UNESCO and the World Bank, as well as governments. She is co-author or co-editor of 11 books and over 50 peer-reviewed journal articles and book chapters. And now, hand over to Sophia for a few words.
So my research focuses on heritage for sustainable development and more specifically, my latest book looks at heritage and the sustainable development goals. So that was one of the strand, I guess, that got me the prize, but I also done some research on museum, immigrants, and social justice. I've been looking at how museum can provide different programs to provide immigrants with different employment and social skills. I think this is the main reason why, and for each of those strands I've also done quite a lot of impact work, and in particular there's a policy that I've helped UNESCO to write, which is the policy on heritage and sustainable development that was adopted in 2015, and I've organized quite a lot of activities around this policy. And I think this is also a reason why that work got acknowledged by the. So what I'm most pleased with is the way in which this UNESCO policy has sparked a lot of interest around the world. There's a big impetus at the moment to implement the policy, and it's very, very pleasing to see. There's lots and lots and lots of activities by many actors, international actors, but also governments and local NGOs. So it's really, really pleasing to see. Something else that I'm also quite pleased about, but it's more around this prize that I just got. I'm very, very pleased to have received it because I'm one of the few professors from diversity in the UK and at the university. So I think it's important to recognize diversity and to promote it. So I wanted to thank the jury for having selected my application. It's a little bit early because I just finished a major project, so the project on heritage and sustainable development. But thanks to the funding that I will get with the prize, I will start doing some literature review on decolonial heritage. There's been a lot of work that has been done on museum and decolonizing museums, but I'm not sure there has been a lot of work done on decolonial heritage. So that's what I'm going to focus on, and I'm just doing a literature review at the moment.
The fourth category is the Knowledge Exchange and Innovation Prize, and this is a prize for research staff who have made a significant contribution to innovation and enterprise activities at the university through their collaborations with industry and knowledge exchange. This year, there's an honourable mention for the joint nomination of Robert Fish and Joseph Tsanopoulos in the Division of Human and Social Sciences. This year's joint winners are Alessia Buscaino and Colin Robinson, both from the School of Biosciences in the Division of Natural Sciences. The prize has been awarded to them for their significant achievements in the Growing Kent and Medway initiative. Since 2019, Alessia and Colin have applied their scientific expertise in fungal biology and biotechnology respectively, their leadership, and their experience in attracting external research funding to the Growing Kent and Medway project. Their sustained commitment to the project has been instrumental in securing over £3 million for the university. So very many congratulations to Alessia and Colin, who's joining us from Thailand.
We've been involved in the Growing Kent and Medway Consortium, and this is a £18 million grant that is funded by the government, by UKRI. And is a consortium grant that the main goal is to drive research and innovation in the agriculture sector, specifically focusing on Kent and Medway region. So really, we wanted to exploit the potential of Kent and Medway, being the Garden of England, exploit the potential of the region to develop new technologies. And this will allow us to overcome some of the challenges that exist at the moment in the UK and in the world, as, for example, climate change, but also the political situation at the moment in the UK, in Kent specifically, is challenging. And we hope that by developing new technology, we can overcome those challenges.
It's just such an exciting opportunity. We don't do a lot of plant research in the sciences schools. We don't really interact with the region's most famous industries to any significant extent within the university, but this allows us to appoint a lot of very talented people, bring some forces together in the university, and really go for a new research direction in Kent. And we are working with some great people in the business school and elsewhere. I think we have a very good feeling about this. It opens up a lot of opportunities for the university.
Yeah, I mean, for this project, I think Colin will agree with me. The interdisciplinary aspect of the grant is what is the most exciting. So as an academic at the university, it's tempting to stay in your own little science bubble and interact just with your colleagues. These grants is great because we are interacting with different schools across the university, business school, economics, but most importantly, we are really interacting and establishing real relationship with the business in the region. And we are talking about sometimes small business, like one-man bands, but also more advanced business. And this has been great. It's been great to see the enthusiasm across the region. It's been great to see the potential of the region. And it's been great to really see how the research that happen within Kent can really make a difference if applied in the sector. So this is definitely for me the most exciting part.
I would completely agree. I mean, it's good to get out of your comfort zone. As a research scientist, my own group works on biopharmaceuticals, high-tech drugs, on animal vaccines. We haven't worked on plants for a very long time, and this is going to push us to ways, work in new ways, talk to a whole load of groups and colleagues at the university and with our partners in Greenwich, NIA BMR and companies. And it's really going to push us to come up with some clever thinking, some clever research ideas. And it's good to teach an old dog new tricks, quite frankly. So yeah, we're really looking forward to this.
Well, it's difficult to predict at this stage. As Colin say, we have recruited some fantastic and talented people, and they are free industrial research fellow. And their job will really to interact with business in the region, to develop new product, to patent new solution. And so it's really exciting to see actually where this project is going to bring us. So we don't want to, if you like, put the project in a box. So we are really open, and we really wanted to see where the research will bring us. So yeah, this is actually quite exciting.
I mean, if we're clever about this, and if the university gets behind the project properly, we can use this as a springboard for a lot of new activities in this sector. There's no question about that. It might need some investment, it might need some expansion in certain areas, but if it works and UKRI really like this, then we're talking about a lot of impact, and not just ref impact for cases. We can talk about a real impact in the region that could be used as a springboard for other grant applications, other answers, and so forth. So, I mean, this is a big grant. It's £18 million across the consortium. It has the potential to do a lot of good and to create a lot of impact. And I think the main thing is going to be to capitalize on whatever comes out of it and think cleverly from the. Yeah, it's we don't know where it will go, but we would be remiss if we didn't use this to really sort of start thinking in different future directions.
And I mean, perhaps if I can just add on this, everybody knows that Kent is the Garden of England. It would be great if the University of Kent and the whole consortium would really be the driving force to develop technology in the region, so that Kent is not just the Garden of England, but a high-tech Garden of England. So that's where we are putting all our effort to make sure that we are really in the map.
We now turn to the prize for Technician of the Year. That's often the unsung hero in the research ecosystem. And I'm really delighted to announce this year's winner, Philip Robinson from the Division for the Study of Law, Society and Social Justice. Following the recent university restructure, Phil moved to a full-time shared role supporting Kent Business School and the Division of Law, Society and Social Justice. In addition to his technical skills, Phil has provided invaluable support for those with disabilities and also for those lacking in confidence with IT and computing. During the recent transition to distance learning, as a result of the pandemic, Phil also provided professional and technical skills and helped support colleagues more generally during what was, for everyone, a very challenging time. So very many congratulations, Phil, for all the support that you've provided. Congratulations on this prize for Technician of the Year.
I was very much encouraged to apply by my colleagues, both research colleagues and academic colleagues from the Tizard Centre. I wouldn't have naturally have done this myself, but they wanted me to apply. They were very appreciative of my support through the training of a lot of colleagues to move from face-to-face research to online methods of research to capture, store and transcribe data. This obviously was vital following the lockdown last year to keep the research moving forward. Many of the Tizard research interviews have interactions with very vulnerable people, so online safety was very vital for everyone. The university rolled out Office 365 and Microsoft Teams much faster than intended at the start of the pandemic. So this presented a major challenge to all colleagues looking to move everything online, and I was able to help them gain a lot of knowledge in a short time period and get them used to the new facilities, as I supported a lot of online teaching and the research interviews. In addition, the Tizard Centre particularly attracts a very high number of students with disabilities, notably autism. These students need more time, and every student has slightly different needs. Support must be given when they can best utilise it, which does mean being flexible with hours, which I've always been happy to do. This also applies to colleagues with disabilities who we sometimes find mass central training doesn't really suit them. So individual support gets much better results, and it is for a lot of this and hopefully my flexibility for all the colleagues is why they wanted to encourage me to apply for this award. The Tizard Centre is very much at the forefront of research into autism, intellectual disabilities and community care. Research in this area is vital to improve the lives of the most vulnerable people in our communities. I volunteer a lot of my time outside of the university helping people in need through an organisation called Lions Clubs International, where I do work helping people all over the world of various projects. So I take great pleasure knowing that my help at Tizard in particular has allowed this vital research to continue in this very difficult COVID period. Through working with Tizard, I've gained a much better understanding of working with adults who have intellectual and developmental disabilities, allowing me to offer more focused support to colleagues and students and external research groups. I personally always love the saying, the only true reward is how you feel when you help somebody else. And that very much is a tenet of my life. So that's why it's such a pleasure to work through this and see the results. Well, I'm hoping to, again, perhaps become involved in another TISARD project, this time looking at the use of artificial intelligence and how this is comprehended by the people with intellectual disabilities, and how we perhaps can give advice and guidance to how AI can be leveraged to support people, improve their lives. This project, I hope, will be underway fairly shortly. And I'm also part of a working group in Law, Society and Social Justice, looking at moving all our old SharePoint sites for data storage to the new Office 365 SharePoint structure, which will incorporate and linking to Microsoft Teams, which will then build on the work I did last year with TISARD in particular, in how we're storing and recording our research information. So they're the two principal things in the research area for next year.
The next prize is for Professional Services Support of the Year. This prize is for professional services staff who have made a significant contribution to supporting research and innovation activities at Kent. In this category, there's an honourable mention for Jessica Cockle, who works in the Kent Business School. The joint winners of this prize are Jess Day and Alexandra Leduc-Pagel. Alexandra is Research and Innovation Manager in the Division of Human and Social Sciences, and she has provided exceptional support in 3 areas: for the School of Anthropology and Conservation, for the division, and also for the wider university. These areas were the preparation of the university's submission to the Research Excellence Framework, the REF, in 2021, establishing the new Research and Innovation Office in the Division of Human and Social Sciences, and her consistently high-quality support for research and innovation in the School of Anthropology and Conservation. Jess Day joined the university in 2019 as a Research Excellence Framework Impact Officer. In that role, she made a very significant contribution to the development of the university's portfolio of impact case studies across a wide range of disciplines and in the face of significant time pressures. Jess is unable to join us today, but we do have a short video from Alexandra.
So there were 3 main areas of research support for which the prize was given to me. And first of all, there was all of my involvement with the REF submissions, 2 REF submissions in the past 6 years. I took some initiatives there to specifically maximize the return to the school I was working in at the time. Then the second area of development was some initiatives that I took in that school to implement the research strategy, such as recruiting external postdocs, developing bespoke training program for researchers, promoting high-value applications, and this led to a record value of research income in that school. And finally, the prize was also awarded for the work I have done in the new division since November, building a new research and innovation office, which included a key element of in-house training for all the new staff we got and who were new to their position. The work we did there has already led to a record high value of application, specifically large and complex bids over the last 10 months. The reward comes with grant being awarded, right? It's always a very joyful moment for our research office in the division. However, I have to say that I find most rewarding, even more than the award, witnessing someone's enthusiasm for research being rekindled through working with them. The work we do in my office is not only that of offering information and pushing colleagues through specific processes. It's also one where researchers will come, sometimes feeling depressed or confused, and will get the space through discussing with funding officers, get the space to try and envisage a bright future for their research. So this is a highly rewarding aspect of this job. I think my next project, well, it's twofold. I have a project for the officers in my immediate team, and that project is that I would like to develop a program of training for 2021, at the end of which the officers would feel proficient in developing impact arising from funded projects. I think I would like to open that to the other officers in the other divisions if they had an appetite for it. But I can see that in my own team, there's a need to understand the impact agenda and help researchers developing their own impact arising from projects. In terms of support for the division, my main challenge in the coming year I see as developing, together with Heather Ferguson, our Director of Research and Innovation, an innovation strategy that will actually bear fruit. So those are my two main endeavors for the year to come.
Finally, we turn to the Kent Research and Innovation Community Prize. This prize was created this year to reflect the university's appreciation of the exceptionally challenging year that staff have faced as a result of the pandemic. It is designed to recognise the invaluable support provided by staff to assist their colleagues, students, or the wider community in research and innovation activities over the past 12 months. In this category, there are two honourable mentions. One for Kathleen Quinlan in the Centre for the Study of Higher Education, and the other for the Research Design Service Southeast team in the Division for the Study of Law, Society and Social Justice. The Research Design Service Southeast team is an NIHR-funded collaboration between the Centre for Health Services Studies at Kent, the School of Health Sciences at the University of Brighton, and the Faculty of Health and Medical Sciences at the University of Surrey. This year's prize goes to Catherine Robinson from the Kent Business School. Kate is primarily an applied economist who focuses on firm-level performance and the factors that influence it, ranging from foreign direct investment to social enterprises, and from technological change to skills and migrant workers. Kate has successfully tendered for several research projects and has also co-authored many reports for a wide range of government departments. So very many congratulations to you, Kate. So that concludes this year's giving. I would like finally then to thank you all for joining me today to honour the winners and the honourable mentions for the University's Research and Innovation Prizes 2021. Many congratulations to all of them. Of course, any prize competition inevitably includes nominations that were not successful on this occasion. And I would also like to thank all those who were nominated for their outstanding work, and indeed all staff who contributed to Kent's achievements in research and innovation over the past year. You have all shown incredible commitment and resilience through such a challenging time. I very much look forward to seeing you all again next year, when I very much hope that we will be able to celebrate our staff's achievements in person. Thank you all very much, and goodbye.
We started to realise early on into lockdown that there was a need for PPE in the local community, and so we looked to see what we could do as a university.
Working for, 7 years or so on a fascinating publication called The Ladies Magazine, a hugely popular monthly magazine for women. I would certainly argue the first recognisably modern women's magazine.
I believe that in the case of Peru, but everywhere as well, it is very important to know what has happened in the past so that you have a real assessment of the situation.
What we're hoping to do with this research is really change the way that athletes' respiratory health is managed, so we can start to use our research to help inform the next wave of improvements in respiratory care, not just in the UK but around the world.
These statistical ecologists have spent years passionately developing advanced mathematical models that are now being used in the field to map and manage butterfly populations across the world.
Everything that we do in the conservation department and all of the research that we do is to make sure that that collection remains stable for as long as possible so that people can come to the museum and immerse themselves in Tudor life.
On the top of each of these panels, you might have noticed a small little Tudor roses. And they are actually carved to allow fresh air to be injected through the coving of that gallery.
We got special access to a rare archive which will help us expand our knowledge and inform people here of what their ancestors went through.
Sigue siendo muy complicado hablar del conflicto religioso en Zacatecas, tanto por el Estado como por la Iglesia. Creo que casi 100 años del inicio
นำโดยศาสตราจารย์ Colin Robinson และดร. Alison Walters จากมหาวิทยาลัย Kent.
The idea behind this project is that we're going to produce recombinant proteins that are used as animal vaccines.